Shortcuts is amazing.
It's probably my favorite Altman.
You
I
know,
haven't
you
seen
can't.
enough. I need to watch more Altman.
I can't find Shortcuts anywhere. I've been trying to show it here in the home, and it's not streaming anywhere.
Did you go to the library?
Guess I could try that.
That's what I do. I go to our library, and if our library doesn't have it, they're in a network where, gee whiz, Elgin and Skokie, those guys keep everything.
Mediadawgs, they're hip and they're cool, they're nobody's fool. They know the story in your town, cause George and Lou have been around. Mediadawgs, we're looking at you, we see what you do. We'll give you a yes or no, but the bad movie's gotta go. Mediadawgs, we're in your TV, we heard that CD. Some people call us movie dogs. That's wrong. Just as long as they'll be singing our song. Mediadawgs, Mediadawgs,
Preparation is not my thing.
The College of Lake County's library, if you're a Lake County resident, has a surprising number of they have some databases where you can stream some really great stuff.
Cool.
So I would check
what?
that out. It's free, completely free.
Is there a certain service? Like who
Yeah, you got to go to one of their databases, like feature films for education, or there's one called Canopy.
can
And because we're online, I've been trying to post films, but sometimes that doesn't work really well. And so I was able to have my students stream Aliens from the library, and we did that, which was a heck of a lot of fun.
Lou, did you have a chance to look up to see if alum were included?
Yeah, no. This is just, of course, now I'm thinking of it, but I forgot to check into that. I will look. That'll be my homework for.
You had one job.
So,
what do you got to check?
If alum have access to all the stuff at College of Lake County.
Oh yeah, well I should probably check that. But I think I know if you're in Lake County, I think you can still use the library. So if you're just a Lake County resident, which Lou, you got to check and see if you can do it as an alum.
Yeah. So anyways, I started this with 12 Monkeys, but the other thing I wanted to talk about is that we didn't talk about before was, have you guys watched the Leftovers?
I want to watch that.
The Leftovers is phenomenal. It's only 3 seasons. It's like less than 30 episodes, but that's my other kind of pandemic show. I mean, it's different in terms of where it's coming from in that sense, but it just reminds me of what happens there, just because of ideas I have on the meaning behind it and so forth. So I guess we shouldn't talk too much detail, George, because Pat has.
But I think you could talk premise.
I know the premise. I know the premise.
Oh, like 8%? Is it 8% of the
2%.
population?
No, 2%. That's 2%. Why.
Just disappears one day?
Yep.
Like in a flash?
Right.
I heard the acting is unbelievably good.
Yeah, the acting, and again
it's so good.
Each season is quite a bit different than the season before it,
and can I say the ending? And I won't give it away. I was like, that blew me away, and it's so obvious.
Yeah.
Right? It's so obvious, and yet your mind goes so many other places with this show that I was like, it was perfect for me. It was perfect for me.
Yeah.
What TV series do you think nailed the ending and which ones didn't?
Well, that one did. Lost, of course. No, I'm just kidding. They're all dead.
I don't think that.
Well, no, hang on a second.
I'm joking.
I don't think the ending was awful. It just wasn't great.
Let's address
Wasn't
Lost.
Seinfeld
No,
level.
I think Lost's ending was actually perfect. I actually do. Because for me, for what I wanted from that show, um, it was the perfect. Because to me, it's that whole thing about them having always. They even say it. There's even a line of dialogue in the series finale that they were not always dead the whole show. But the thing that gets me is that last season was I thought every character that was on the show had an arc of beginning, middle, and end. Whether that end was on the island, off the island, or in death, it happened. And then that last season gave us something no other show ever gave us, which was basically, without spoiling, an epilogue. We never get an epilogue in a TV series. So I found it actually great.
I didn't hate it. I know a lot of people hated it, but I liked that part of it. Seinfeld, of course, I think is famous for being like really flubbing.
Yeah.
How I Met Your Mother, boy, that was a bad ending.
Never saw that one.
Oh
Yeah,
boy,
never
that ruined the show for me. And I just kind of watched it off and on. I didn't watch every episode, but I thought, oh, it's ending. And I was like, oh, that's a bad ending. And fans hated it. But for good reason. Not just like when I don't like it. Not everybody's happy. One of those kind of things. But I mean, you think about the ending to the original Twin Peaks series, I thought it was brilliant. It made me just want to die, but I thought it was brilliant.
But you know what happened in the original Twin Peaks ending is that, and I don't have a problem. A lot of people have a problem with season 2 episodes, but Lynch had left, and for as much as I love Lynch, I didn't have a whole lot of problems in there. But then Lynch came back. He came back and he stopped pre-production on the finale and rewrote it and did it his way. And that's why the ending is amazing. The second season ending is all Lynch. I mean, he threw away things that were building up, and this was going to be the payoff. And he's like, oh, I don't want that. So
I'll go for a throwback. You know what was a great series finale? Mary Tyler Moore.
Yep.
What happened? I don't remember.
They're all dead. It turns out they've been dead the whole time.
They were dead the whole time. They were all in a snow globe. That Ted Knight had the snow globe in his house.
No, it turns out they all get fired except for Ted Knight character. Ted Baxter is the one that gets put on. I thought that was great. I thought Buffy the Vampire Slayer, fantastic last episode.
I'm watching Buffy right now. We're in season 2. My son hasn't seen it, and so we're making our way through. It's great, and because there's a case though where that last season is not the best season. I mean, it's close to season 4 is the worst. But
I defend the last season. I totally defend the last
season.
Well,
no, there are parts that I defend the 6th season. Some people had problems with the 6th season, that it was too dour, but I love the 6th season. But whatever the case is, they still stuck the landing. They found their way back to it. I don't know. But I never watched Newhart much, and that's famous for him. I saw the series finale of Newhart. That's the gold standard. That is the best ending to a TV series ever, I think.
I just like that because as a kid, one of my early crushes was Suzanne Plachette in the Bob Newhart show. So
it was great. But back to George, you're right. The beginning to end of The Leftovers is that's what I was going to say is, so obviously I'm passionate about Lost, and it's one of my favorite shows, and I sit here and I go, Leftovers is really darn close, because it's the same guy, Damon Lindelof, did Lost and did The Leftovers, and sometimes I'm like, it's in the team photo with Lost. It's that good. The Leftovers.
I had can I share some celebrity gossip with you?
Yes.
I have a friend who out of college worked on Lost, and in Hawaii, and he said that the actor who played Hurley, Great guy. The actor who played Sawyer, he said was one of his favorite people he's ever met. Beautiful, generous, wonderful human being. He said like all the other actors were just wonderful. All the actors were just so good to the cast and were really humble people and were great to work with, except for Matthew Fox.
Oh.
Oh, interesting.
So get this. I mean, and you're going to laugh at this because it's like Matthew, what has Matthew Fox done that he thinks has earned this? Okay. According to my friend, on his first day on the job, he got pulled aside by another crew member and said, okay, one of your jobs is going to be to run and get actors when the director is ready for them. He said, if you have to get Fox, grab another actor, grab an actor to come with you, because he will only speak to the director, the producer, or other actors. He will not acknowledge the presence of anybody else. And my friend went, what do you mean? He said, in all seriousness, if you walk up to Matthew Fox and say, excuse me, Mr. Fox, we're ready for you, he will just keep on drinking his coffee and act like he doesn't hear you.
We're going to get sued now.
Yeah. Well, hang on, but you know where my head immediately
because of all the Matthew Fox rabid fan base.
Yeah.
The Fox
where my head immediately goes is that with the few exceptions, I mean, you know, Terry O'Quinn and maybe Daniel Day Kim, nobody had any experience, right? You know, Jorge Garcia and Sawyer hadn't done anything, right? Those guys, and I'm not saying that, you know, time will change them. I'm just saying they were all probably kids in the candy store.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
You know, with that show. To not excuse Fox, I certainly have learned in the business how that happens, right? Because it's, you know, people. That's how people allow the actors to behave that way, and once they allow that, then it gets worse, right, exponentially. And actually a great. It's funny. I just heard Barry Sonnenfeld, you know, the cinematographer on early Coen stuff and director of Addams Family and Men in Black and stuff like that. I just heard him interviewed on What the Fuck. Are we allowed to say that here? The WTF, the Mark Maron podcast. And he was great because he talked a lot about not taking crap from actors, you know, because not because he was being mean about it, but it's because nobody stands up to them, right? And so since nobody stands up to him, he told a story about when he directed Get Shorty, right? So when he was getting ready to cast Get Shorty, there was interest shown by Warren Beatty for the John Travolta role, and Warren Beatty made Sonnenfeld, who was the director of the movie, stay at the Beverly Hilton Hotel for 5 days waiting for him to show up to meet with him, just so Warren Beatty could walk in and say, I'm not going to do the movie. It's like he knew the whole time, and they had to wait to get the in-person answer kind of thing. But he's like, when people do that, it's like they're waiting for you to try and convince them otherwise. And he's like, okay, and let him go, you know? But he said Hollywood usually then turns around and tries to beg the actor to do what we want you to do, you know? But he's like, don't do it. Don't do it. So I think that's where that comes from. So whatever the case is, why Fox is like that, I see it. I see it firsthand too. That's the way they get treated. You know, you get treated, you get spoiled. And I mean, I see people that are not actors in other positions. You know, everybody's groveling at their feet or doing anything that they want, even if it has nothing to do with the job, but they do it for them. And once somebody does that, then that person, for good or bad, starts expecting that behavior from everybody. Thank you very much. Now you can cut that all out.
I remember that on the set of, what was that local access show back in the 90s, Mediadawgs?
Mediadawgs. there was that guy Lou.
They called him the talent.
Yeah,
I don't know what that means.
You
No,
would
but
remember we would refer to ourselves as the talent, just sardonically, like
Yeah.
or just because you
Remember
cut the
doing that.
show.
the
So
talent's here.
I'm looking here, or him. I'm looking up Matthew Fox on Wiki, and the only like awards he was even up for was for Lost.
I mean, what's the guy going to do? I mean, I'm sure maybe he's a nice guy. Maybe I'm wrong, but I think he's a fine actor. But I mean, at least Warren Beatty has something in his back pocket to say, "Oh yeah, I was in Reds. I directed Reds. I was in Bonnie and Clyde." Is Matthew Fox going to go? Maybe you've heard of a little show called Party of Five.
Racer X. He was apparently.
Yeah, you know what's he got? I mean, I'm good for him. He's had a career, and I love him in Lost, but unearned ego there. But you probably should never have ego anyway.
No, because what are you gonna? I mean, Michael Emerson and Terry O'Quinn got all the awards love, right? The Emmy love.
Well, Emerson was like freaking awesome on that show.
Yeah. That one scene where he ends with the "Got Milk" line is like the best monologue in the history.
He's incredible in that. He really is.
Yeah, he's cool.
Have I ever told you my Ray Harryhausen story?
No, tell us the Ray Harryhausen story.
This is my go-to thing. I tell my intro to film class this every semester after this happened, which was after I had you guys. I was at Comic-Con, and this was before Harryhausen died. And I was walking along, and I saw him sitting at a table, and they hadn't put a sign up yet. And nobody was talking to him. He was just sitting there. It was Ray Harryhausen. And I stopped, and I went, hello, Mr. Harryhausen. And he goes, hello, how are you? And I started talking to him, and I go like, oh my God, you're one of my heroes. And I said, I show, he had just won the Lifetime Achievement Award at the Oscars. So here it is, like one of the few living legends in film. Special effects genius, right? Changed film. And I'm talking to him about like studying under Willis O'Brien. I'm talking to him about, I say, I show the skeleton sequence from Jason the Argonauts every single semester. And then we talked for a while, and then he was telling me about Willis O'Brien. And then I realized people had lined up behind me, and I was holding things up. So I said goodbye and talked to him for probably 10 minutes, right? And I walked away, and I realized, I was thinking about these actors or other people who have these gigantic egos who say, don't make eye contact with me, all this kind of stuff. And here was a living legend in Hollywood history. And as I walked away, I realized he had asked me more questions than I had asked him.
Yeah, that's really awesome. That I wish I could name some names, but I talked about it before, but listening to Gilbert Gottfried's podcast, there's a lot of people, maybe not like Harryhausen, not legends like that, but maybe on the other side of the camera. And then there's people that are character actors and stuff. And people talk a lot about like, look, I owe it to my fans to, if they come up, I know they come up to me and they're nervous. They don't know what to say. And it's up to me to try and make a little conversation with them just so they feel better about it because I owe them something. So there is a whole group of people that recognize that and talk about that and certainly don't understand the Matthew Foxes of the world that, don't make eye contact kind of thing. But that's a great story. And again, those, I hear a lot of stories because of this group about, because people worship that guy, Harryhausen. So that's a cool story.
So getting back to your question about endings, I'm writing stuff down so I can remember it later. Mr. Robot, did you guys watch
was that good? I never watched that show.
I love that show. And the last, I think, 4th season I was just like more and more. And the last episode, I couldn't. I was like, I was getting bored. I was very unimpressed and was kind of disappointed in the last. Yeah, yeah, I like Mr. Robot a lot.
No, it was.
Yeah,
Yeah, I have no good.
it's my opinion. You know,
Yeah, I have no good reason for this other than that all the hype over uh, Bohemian Rhapsody. Just like if I never see Remy Malik in anything, it's okay with me. So it's hard.
I was not a fan of Bohemian Rhapsody. I was not a fan.
this started way before that.
No, I know, but I'm just saying I hadn't gotten to Mr. Robot, and then when all that happened, it was the nail in the coffin that I'm like not going there because it's an annoying presence to me, and I have no good reason for it. But I didn't even see it. Like the commercials alone killed that movie for me. And I always say, talk about movie like Rocket Man was great, right? And
I thought Rocket Man was better than Bohemian Rhapsody.
Taron Egerton, was great, and he really sang, and no Oscar love, and yeah, the guy lip syncing to Freddie Mercury. I don't know.
I have to say too that I thought Taron Egerton's role was more difficult than Malik's in Bohemian Rhapsody. I love Queen. I love Queen. Of course, most rock fans do, but that film I thought was. I had the same problem with that film that I had with Straight Outta Compton as a biopic.
Yeah.
Well, they are biopics being made by the people who are being represented. I mean, the other members of Queen had a big hand in Bohemian Rhapsody, and of course they're going to sand away all the edges. They're going to take away things that make them look bad, and it makes it so much less interesting.
Well, I hate to generalize, but I tend to really dislike biofilms because they're always they're either whitewashed or they're the first half of the movie is a very tight narrative, and then somebody remembers, we have another 20 years to cover in the last half of the movie. So that said, that's why a movie like Rocket Man sticks out to me, right? Because it took didn't go as much time, try and cover as much time, and it was just a really solid, fun movie. So I end up liking it more maybe than it even deserves. But the history on Bohemian Rhapsody, right, is they had an edgier script, and Sacha Baron Cohen was going to play the role, which I think would have been perfect, and he quit because the band wouldn't allow the more edgy script. They started watering it down. He said later. And then you got exactly what you're describing, I think.
And then you got Bryan Singer in there. Boy, he's a toxic guy.
Yeah. Oh, well, that's the ironic thing, too, right, is Dexter Fletcher finished filming the Bohemian Rhapsody when they fired Bryan Singer, and then Dexter's the one that directed Rocket Man.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He didn't talk about Bohemian.
I'm surprised how much I liked Rocket Man. I'm not the biggest Elton John fan, and I love Rocket Man.
Yeah, my daughter and I love Elton, but we actually got to go to a Q&A at Paramount Studios at their movie theater there because it was up for SAG Awards. And so we got to see it in this beautiful theater with the best sound I've ever heard. And then there was a Q&A afterwards with Elton and Bernie and Taron and the director.
That's right, you said that. Oh, my God, that's so cool.
It was
And
great.
should I cut that out since you told that story on the last show?
Oh, did I? Yeah. No, just keep telling.
Every show.
Every show.
Find a different way to tell it every show. That would be fantastic.
I think we're over 3 hours anyhow, so yeah, you can cut that out.
We are getting there.
I like some biopics. I like Walk the Line.
I was just thinking, I liked Walk the Line too. I liked it so much I went out and bought the soundtrack.
You know what's a bad movie, but I just love it, is Walk Hard, the Dewey Cox story.
Oh, I haven't seen it yet.
The Walk the Line parody. I laugh my ass off all through that show. All through that movie. I really do. I think it's so funny, especially if you've seen Walk the Line and you watch watch Walk Hard. I think it's one of the better parodies I've seen recently. It's really funny.
So did I ever tell you that I saw Queen in 1978. And guess
Wow.
who opened for him?
Who
Thin
opened for
Lizzy.
him?
Thin Lizzy.
Thin Lizzy.
Thin Lizzy and
Yeah.
Queen.
Yeah,
Nice.
it's an amazing show. Blew
I
my
heard Thin Lizzy
teenage.
was great live.
Oh my God, yeah. It blew my teenage head apart at the stadium.
Yeah, that's the
That's a great line. That's a great duo, man. That's great.
but seeing Freddie Mercury live, man, that's bucket list. You know, I mean, I can't be bucket list because it's
Oh,
gone.
well, yes, but and pre like News of the World. I mean, they
Yeah.
got kind of, I don't know, anthemy. I'll probably get criticized for using that word, but Thin Lizzy, holy crap, Thin Lizzy, and
Underrated band.
you can't see either of them now with their original singers, so I feel lucky.
What happened to Lynott? What happened to the lead singer Thin Lizzy? When did he die?
I don't know. I can look it up. I can look on the old wiki, but my guess is an overdose or something. I don't know. I shouldn't even say that before I've looked, but I don't know. Let's just look it up. I got the. So I did not edit at all last time. I just let it flow, and because that's what we always used to do. And let's have that discussion on our show. Should we edit or should we just let it go for as long as it should be? Like a Mark Maron kind of an idea. Like an interview is only as long as it should be.
Well, the good news is, from my perspective, I think you can edit because it's not like I'll remember anything that I said anyhow. So it's not like I'll go, hey, George, how come you cut out that part where I was talking about the flies and the ointment?
One day I'll just have that, like just a series of about the theater and meeting the guy that played Elton John and Edgerton or whatever his name is. Edgar, whatever his last name is.
Oh, that's right. We talked about him because we talked about Kingsman.
How much I hate the Kingsman movies.
Kingsman movies. That's right.
And I do.
I'm glad
That's
that you
okay.
still do. It's good to see things haven't changed in 2 weeks. I'm trying to find out how he died.
2 weeks have not changed my mind on Kingsman.
Go back and watch them again. There's
Come on,
2 of them,
man.
right? Or are there 3?
Two. Well, there's a third one that was being previewed, a prequel with Ralph Fiennes.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. Later years, poetry books. Lynott wrote poetry in 1974. See, wiki there. You can't beat it. Okay, his last years were heavily affected by drug and alcohol dependency, leading to his collapse in 1985. Yeah, heroin. It's all there. They should make a movie about it. Speaking of that, Once. Wasn't that? No, wait. What movie was the one where they Lizzie, where they make that was from Once, right? Did you guys ever see the movie Once?
I love the movie
I was
Once.
trying to remember.
I love the movie Once.
Yeah, he hooks
love
up with
Once.
that band that loved Lizzie. They're like a film.
Oh yeah. I gotta watch that movie again. I love that movie.
That's a
Once is
fantastic film.
great.
Go out and see that.
There we
Randy,
go.
Can I
Wherever
just
you
make
are.
a plug? The New York Times ran an article about Weird Al Yankovic. And I had no idea what this guy's life had been like. His life would make a great biopic, an amazing biopic. He has an incredible story. And this guy, it's a beautifully written article about Yankovic, and he makes this impassioned plea for like taking him seriously. And I had never thought about it from that writer's point of view. It was just incredible. And but anyway, boy, it would make a great biopic.
Yeah,
So-
he's been getting a lot of respect lately that he hadn't gotten before. But I was just going to say, if they do a biopic, it has to be like the Private Parts. He's got to play himself for most of the movie.
Maybe. George, what were you going to say?
Is he really married to Julia Sweeney?
No.
Okay. Well, have you seen the show on Showtime? Abby McEnany's show. I can't think of what it's called. Um. Anyway, Chicago comedian Abby McEnany. She's hilarious. She's got a show, and she bumps into Julia Sweeney, and she's like, and you made my life hell, because she's fairly, I don't know if can I even use the word androgynous these days. She's fairly androgynous, and
So, Pat, yeah.
people called me Pat, and strikes up this friendship with Julia Sweeney, who plays herself, and eventually goes to dinner with, let me think, her transitioning boyfriend, and at Julia Sweeney's house, and like Weird Al's her husband.
Huh.
But he's not weird.
That's funny.
But he's playing himself. I should look that
Yeah,
up.
I guess he's very quiet. He's a very intelligent, quiet individual, and I love that. You ever heard that story Paul F. Tompkins tells about Weird Al?
No.
Oh, it's hysterical. It's on one of his comedy albums. It's really funny. He tries to pull a prank on Weird Al, and it just keeps on going worse and worse. He keeps on digging himself deeper and deeper. It's a fun. I love Paul F. Tompkins. I think he's great.
I'm looking up that show, the name of it, but I don't know that it's all the names of shows these days are just like phrases, like common phrases, and it just kind of swirls around my head, the names of these shows.
What's her name?
Weird Al?
No, the Chicago comedian.
Oh, Abby McEnany. You guys are better. And don't ask me how to spell McEnany. I was introduced to her by there's a show called The Interview Show on WTTW here in Chicago, and you never know when it's going to be on, but it's a guy who works for the Tribune, and they shoot it in the Hideout, the bar in Chicago, and she was interviewed there, and I was like, I got to check that out. I can't remember his name either. Journalists, am I right?
Work in progress.
Work in progress looks like what.
That's it. Because I'm watching another show. I was watching another show at the same time. I think it was called "I'm Not Okay with This" or something like that, and I kind of like that one too. But I liked Work in Progress a lot, and it showcased Chicago much better than AP Bio showcased Toledo, I'm sure.
Well, of course.
I'm not finding.
Yeah. It's so Julia's married to someone named Michael Blum. I don't even see Al on here yet.
He married she's like a physician or something, I forget.
I don't know
what, but yeah.
Theater of the Absurd.
Is what?
Well, why he would be presented as her husband.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't see anything in here as to the why.
Oh wow.
But yeah, they're both married to different folks.
So then the other thing I wanted to mention was another and a good one to stream and binge, I guess, is Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
Oh yeah, I like Brooklyn Nine-Nine a lot. I do.
Yeah,
I like it a lot.
And they had their season finale this past week. And, it was going to be another one of these, she's pregnant and going to have the baby and there's a blackout and wacky. And that show never fails to pull the rabbit out of the hat for me because they made it fresh and they made it good, I thought. And plus, many years ago, decades ago, we talked about Andre Braugher on Homicide.
Oh, Homicide.
I loved him as captain on Brooklyn Nine-Nine. Yeah,
he's wonderful. He's wonderful. What a great actor. What a fantastic actor.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's one I've never seen, and I always want to, but I wonder if it's on Hulu. I'll have to look to see.
I watch it on Hulu.
Yeah, because I have Hulu now, so that'll be next for me then.
Brooklyn Nine-Nine isn't my favorite. Of the Michael Shore shows, of course, I worship The Good Place. I worship Parks and Rec. No, Good Place, another show that nailed the ending.
Yep.
But yeah, I like Brooklyn Nine-Nine a lot. How come you guys don't watch Bob's Burgers? Is there something about it you don't like, or is there?
Where is it? What's it on? Who makes it?
Fox,
You
right?
know, you could probably watch it on Netflix, or I watch it on Hulu.
I don't know.
Um,
I kind of fallen away from the animation. I'm not a fan of like the Seth MacFarlane stuff, and
no, I'm not either.
it just seems like kind of there were like two jokes on that
It's
Stewie
really
and Doug
different.
show.
It's unlike Seth MacFarlane. It's character-driven comedy,
Okay, I'll give it a try.
and you got to
Brooklyn
watch
Nine-Nine and
it.
Bob's Burgers. I'll watch. I'll have 1,000 Bob's Burgers under my belt before we meet again.
Yeah, I have several pieces of Bob's Burger memorabilia.
Well, come on, don't spoil the show for me.
Oh, great!
Um,
Because yeah,
I've got my little.
Now I'm
But,
gonna know.
you have to watch watch the first season until you get at least to like the one where Bob becomes obsessed with a video game.
okay. And can I jump in? The last animation, I would say cartoon, but I don't want to be
Yeah.
Cartoon.
jerk. We were watching was BoJack Horseman, and I really
Oh, how is that? Is that good?
well, I thought it was really good, but it's kind of dark.
Yeah, I heard it's kind of
Yeah,
brutally dark.
we were watching it at a time where we needed like lighter stuff in our lives, and so we just stopped watching it. And I haven't missed it, but yeah, I liked it. I thought it was pretty good.
Speaking of, I know that I plugged this show last week, but it came out, I think, to tap into our contagion fears. Primal.
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah. Prime.
With an episode you can watch on YouTube in chunks. You have to watch it in little segments, but you kind of need the break with the little segments because it's like completely insanely intense. But it's all about contagion fears, and it was really pretty scary. But I loved it.
is
So
that's the one with the dinosaur and the caveman?
yeah, it's the
Yeah.
ridiculous one that
Yeah,
it's a ridiculous premise that they take completely seriously that I
right.
just love.
Oh,
It's great.
as long as we're streaming consciousness, if any of you took our advice and watched Afterlife, the second season or series, I should say, since it's British, just started last night, Friday night.
I'm gonna watch that.
Yeah, I haven't gotten to watch it yet. I'm gonna start watching season 2, series 2 today. I can't wait.
I finished Adventure Time. I watched the last episode of Adventure Time.
What's that?
Oh,
Animation.
that's another cartoon. It's a brilliant thing. Have you watched it, Lou?
No.
I
You
think he
you
was
guys don't know
guessing.
Adventure Time?
I think he was
Nope.
making fun of you. He was guessing when he said a cartoon.
It is.
No,
a
I knew
cartoon.
what it was. I've just
It's
never
a
watched it.
brilliant.
Oh,
Oh, it's great. You gotta watch it. You
No, I
gotta
know
watch
there's
it.
these shows I should be watching like BoJack and Adventure Time, but
Hey, listen, I'm not kidding. The New Yorker, I think it was New Yorker or New York Times, did a thing about the best 20 shows of the last 20 years, and Adventure Time was on there.
Really?
Yep. It is not something. It is not just like a guilty pleasure. As the show goes on, it starts taking more and more and more psychological depth, and it builds an insanely huge universe of characters. Like, it's incredible, and at the same time, a little kid could watch it and have a great time with it. But oh yeah,
so what's that on? Is that on Hulu?
I watched that on Hulu.
Okay.
The voice talent in that show is incredible. DiMaggio who did Bender on Futurama is in it, and Maria Bamford does a bunch of voices.
Aw.
Uh,
I like her.
Yeah.
So is Futurama? That's not on anymore, right?
No,
But The Simpsons still is, right?
yeah, I haven't watched a Simpsons episode like in 5-6 years.
Oh, it's been over a decade probably. Is it still? Do you think it's still funny?
I don't know. I think they probably should have let it die a pretty long time ago, but I watched a Futurama episode the other day, and I'd forgotten how razor sharp that writing is.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Great.
It's hilarious.
It's great.
Yeah.
Um,
I've got a friend who is a major fiddler out east. And I go to this actually, since we've done the show in the past, I've started every year. I've been going to this folk festival, and he just recites Futurama. Just it'll be like 3 a.m. and he'll be like playing this beautiful fiddle, and then he'll just start going into a routine, with the professor and Bender, and it's just hilarious to like hear it through this young guy's, because I met him in 2007 when he was like 17 years old. It's great fun to hear it through somebody else's, I don't know, a different generation's mouth, I guess.
yeah.
I don't know. And it's just as funny when somebody else is just doing it like that.
I got to look up this guy's name, Billy West.
Oh yeah.
I was really mad because at Comic-Con one year, and I didn't know this was going on. Billy West was at a booth, and if you made a donation to charity, he would yell at you and insult you as Zoidberg. Like, oh, and you could film it as he would go, oh, like yell at you, and I was like, please. I saw Billy West give a talk one time, and he just, to show you the level of, I think we mentioned this last time, but I was venting the other day with Dressa about how I hate when movies, animated films, get actors instead of voice actors.
Right.
Because it's a different talent, don't you think, Lou?
Oh, totally. Yeah. No, those guys are way. Yeah. Let me tell you this, as an actor, in general, getting to do voiceover is the most fun that I've, going into a booth and doing that stuff is the absolute most fun you can have if you allow yourself to. So there is that thing to it. But these guys like Billy West, and I want to say this other guy here too is Rob Paulson. I think
Rob Paulson is fantastic.
These guys
Pamela Anlin. We'll bring the show full circle. Pamela Anlin.
Yeah. She's great too. Yeah. Pamela's great, but yeah, they're a different animal. And I actually got into an argument with a voice teacher one time because she claimed to be really good friends with Jim Cummings, and then mentioned that used him as an example of someone who acts from the neck up. And I'm like, it's not even possible because this guy, you don't actually know him, because these guys put their whole self into these voices. Do you know what I mean? There's a lot of physicality going on in those booths.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why they're as good as they are, kind of thing.
Toast of London. Is that Toast of London where he does the voice? He does voice stuff. Do you ever watch Toast of London?
I've never seen that.
Oh, okay. Matt Berry, if you like Matt Berry. He's in, what was that other one? There was just one out about the rabbit. Something about the rabbit. All right, I'll look it up.
Okay.
But I saw Billy West give a talk about his about what it takes to do Popeye's voice correctly. And he gave this whole history of the different voice actors who have done Popeye and how what each one added, and how one of them was a jazz drummer as well as a voice actor, and he was the guy who added that kind of the scatting. And then he said, he goes, here is the secret to doing Popeye's voice and why only a few people can do it well. He goes, the people who do Popeye's voice are actually doing throat singing. He goes, because to do Popeye's voice, he goes, and he talked about like the tradition of throat singing in like, I think it's Buddhism, I'm sorry. But it's where you sing two notes at the same time, two different notes at the same time. So he literally, in front of this crowd, goes, so to do Popeye, you have to go, and he did a low voice, then you go, and this, he did the high voice, and then he goes, and you have to do them at the same time. And he did it. We were like, just like, oh.
Yeah.
That's right. That's not Popeye unless you do both of them at the same time.
Yeah, again, I like you. I mean, I hear these guys interviewed, and I love hearing them talk about how they, get to voices. I mean, they talk about really just doing imitations of old character actors, and using combinations of that to find some voices.
Oh yeah.
It's
Wasn't
all.
that, In a World? Wasn't that Lake Bell? Wasn't that what
Yeah,
that
I like
Oh,
that.
yeah,
I like that.
yeah.
And I like the documentary, I Know That Voice.
Yeah.
That's a good one too.
I'm going to get back to Matt Berry for a second, since I brought him up.
Matt Berry.
Matt Berry, he's so I think I first saw him in The Mighty Boosh. Did you guys The Mighty Boosh?
Mm.
Okay, Pat, you would love The Mighty Boosh.
I've heard people tell me that before.
Okay. So and then Toast of London, and gosh, there was something else that he was in too. I mean, he's been in everything, but anyway, Snuffbox is the one. Incredibly just bizarre stuff. But Year of the Rabbit, and I missed it. It was on some weird channel, and they didn't show. I DVR'd it, and they didn't show some as new episodes. So I got the last two and the first one, and but anyway, it says here he did some voiceover in Archer also.
No, another one, another show I love.
And I know you know that one, yeah. But I'll come in. Oh, and he was on Community. It says here.
Who was in Community?
Grifting Professor Roger DeSalvo.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
He's in What We Do in the Shadows.
Right, which we just started. We watched the first episode.
Oh, I like that show. I like that show.
I knew I would. I just
Community, another one. I'll stand by the last episode of Community too.
I can't remember it, but I don't. That's probably a good sign if I don't remember it.
Well, you had to watch it on some Yahoo something, to get it, or it was.
Oh, you did? Oh, I
yeah.
didn't. I'll take a look.
I'll have to go here in a few minutes.
Yeah, we're. I might cut this up
You
into
should.
a couple shows.
For sure.
Because I mean, I understand that we're no Mark Maron.
We give you free reign.
People might tend to drop off.
Justified stuck the landing too.
I want to watch that show. That's a show I would like to watch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna check that out.
Sorry, I'm just checking things here, guys. I got some. Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Is that good?
You good? We're good?
Good.
Good.
Good?
All right.
We're good?
Bye, everybody. Bye, everybody.
Okay, bye.
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 See you later.